This summer, the Busby quintuplets and their family relocated. This is the reason. The Busby family's life has never been typical in any sense. Fans have been fascinated with Adam and Danielle Busby and their 6 kids since they were initially exposed to the world, including the first American-born all-female quintuplets. Their house has always been a hive of activity, love, laughing, and mayhem. However, a new chapter in their journey began this past summer. The family dispersed and shifted. A household of 8 finds moving to be a significant task. Of course, there were questions. Why did the Busses decide to modify things so drastically? What made them abandon the comfortable confines of a house that had witnessed so many significant events? The choice to relocate was not taken hastily or without planning. Adam and Danielle have been open over the years about the difficulties of having 6 girls in a warm and inviting home that frequently seemed overflowing. There was a narrative in every part of their house. From the kitchen where innumerable family dinners were enjoyed to the playroom that was formerly occupied by cribs. However, as the quintuplets aged and their requirements evolved, the family started to feel the effects of practicality, comfort, and space constraints. The Busbys eventually made the move this summer. They moved into a new house that better suited the needs of an expanding family of 8, packed up their belongings, and ended a significant chapter in their family's history. The relocation represented more than just a change of scenery for the Busbys. Address. It was about providing their daughters with a new setting where memories could be created, as well as space to develop and flourish. Outgrowing the previous residence. The Busbys were in survival mode when the quintuplets were born. Diapers, feedings, and just getting through the night were the main items on their daily agendas. The home they occupied at the time was ideal for that phase of life. It was convenient, comfortable, and near all of their need. However, when the females developed from babies to inquisitive toddlers to school-age kids with distinct hobbies, the house felt increasingly smaller. Despite their unique characteristics, the quintuplets, Ava, Olivia, Hazel, Riley, and Parker, share a unique kinship. Adam and Danielle came to understand over time how crucial it was for every daughter to have a place of her own to explore her uniqueness. Blake, their oldest child, who is now a teenager, likewise required privacy and her own space away from her younger sister's commotion. It became more and more obvious that the girls needed quiet nooks and personal space, which the old house just couldn't offer. Even the everyday practicalities were getting harder. There seemed to be an infinite amount of laundry with 6 growing kids. The kitchen was overcrowded around mealtime, and it was almost impossible to find a quiet place to complete schoolwork. Having enough bathrooms and bedrooms wasn't the only consideration. The goal was to have a house that could change to accommodate their family's shifting needs. The pursuit of a new house. For years, there had been talk about moving. However, the Busses didn't decide the time was perfect until the summer. There were other considerations besides square footage when looking for a new house. Finding a location that felt appropriate was important to Adam and Danielle. A house that struck a balance between modern convenience and a family-oriented mindset, warmth and pragmatism, and space and closeness. Of course, they wanted extra living space so the girls could spread out and more bedrooms. However, they also desire a large enough yard for outdoor fun, family get-togethers, and playdates. Finding a neighborhood that felt kind and encouraging was as important as staying safe. The Busbys were aware that their children needed to be able to flourish, not just grow, wherever they ended up. Why this summer? Their decision was heavily influenced by timing. This summer was the ideal window because Blake was getting closer to adolescence, and the quintuplets were about to start a new chapter in their school lives. The girls were already up against. They were able to begin the school year in a new home without the inconvenience of mid-semester changes because to the transitions and move that took place during the break. The family had also reflected about their priorities for a large portion of the previous year. They discovered, like many families, that their living, working, and playing environments had a profound effect on their well-being. The significance of a home as a haven was highlighted during the pandemic years, and Adam and Danielle wanted to make sure their family had one that genuinely accommodated their demands while adapting to them. Moving is never easy, of course, especially for kids. The home that had so many of the Busby girls' early memories, the backyard where they had played endless games, and the rooms they had grown up in had to go. It was bittersweet for Blake to leave the area she had known for the majority of her life. However, the Busses handled the transfer with the same candor that supporters have long respected. They spoke with the girls about the motivations behind the relocation, the advantages of having extra room, and the thrill of making new experiences in a new location. The girls gradually started to view the transfer as an adventure and the creation of new memories rather than a loss. The Busby family has started the happy process of transforming their new house into their own now that they are settled there. The quintuplets have taken delight in their room decor, selecting hues and accents that are true to their individual styles. Blake finds solace in having a place that feels special to him. Hers, a haven where she can relish the solitude that occasionally accompanies adolescence. The new neighborhood has also been welcomed by the family. The Busbys are once again demonstrating that house is more about the life lived inside it than it is about the walls, whether it is by riding bikes on peaceful streets, entertaining new guests, or spending evenings in the backyard. Thoughts when traveling. In retrospect, the choice to relocate was motivated by more than just practicality or convenience. It had to do with eyesight. Adam and Danielle have always raised their daughters with purpose, working to provide an atmosphere where each child feels supported, loved, and inspired. That journey continued with the move this summer. The move serves as a reminder to fans who have been following the Busby since the beginning of how swiftly time goes by. The little quintuplets who used to fit together in cribs are now active, self-sufficient children with their own voices, hobbies, and dreams. The action represents the development, signifying the move from one stage of family life to the current one. Concluding remarks. There has always been more to the Busby story than just parenting quintuplets. It's about facing life's obstacles with love, faith, and fortitude. This summer's move presented both a chance and another challenge. It was an opportunity to start over, make deliberate decisions for the future, and welcome change with hope. Knowing this, Adam and Danielle unpack boxes, hang family photos, and become settled in their new home. Perfection isn't the point of that house. It has to do with unity. And the Busbys continue to demonstrate that love is what really makes a house a home, whether in their new home or their old one. The quintuplets go on a new chapter as they grow up Busby. The Busby family has always been in the spotlight, not because they sought recognition, but just because they were themselves. Since Adam and Danielle Busby and their 6 daughters, Blake being the oldest, as well as the quintuplets, Ava, Olivia, Hazel, Riley, and Parker, were first introduced to the world. Individuals. Been captivated. Everyone was moved by the story's uniqueness. They were the parents of the first all-girl quintuplets to be born in the United States. However, it's not simply the numbers or the novelty that have kept fans interested in them throughout the years. It's the openness, vulnerability, and strong devotion to family that have characterized their lives. The Busbys are in a new stage in their lives right now. An entirely different chapter from the early days of bottles, diapers, and restless nights. Quintuplets are expanding rapidly. Adam and Danielle are figuring out what it takes to raise 6 very different young girls who are no longer babies but rather people with goals, struggles, and their own viewpoints, while Blake is moving deeper into her adolescence. This chapter discusses change, progress, and the constant struggle to strike a balance. The passing of time. The Busbys' adjustment to the surprise and delight of having 5 newborns at once seems like it was yesterday. The world never forgets those times. Cribs line the hospital rooms, bottles are lined up for feedings, and Adam and Danielle appear both overwhelmed and resolute. It was survival mode. To get through the day, it was all about planning, organizing, and working as a team. However, time does not slow down, particularly when children are involved. From delicate newborns to inquisitive toddlers, the quintuplets grew up. Their house resonating with tantrums, laughing, and the never-ending sound of tiny feet scuffing on the floor. The oldest child, Blake, changed from being the only one to growing into an older sister with duties well above her capabilities. The Busbys are now firmly in a new stage of family life, with school years piling up and new milestones approaching. 6 trips. The uniqueness that each of the Busby girls exhibits is what makes this chapter particularly fascinating. They were viewed by fans for years as the Quint, a group that frequently played together, looked similarly, and celebrated milestones at the same time. However, as they've developed, Adam and Danielle have put a lot of effort into embracing their differences in order to support each lady in finding her voice. Among the Quints, Ava and Olivia are identical twins who have an unbreakable relationship. They tend to gravitate near one another and frequently complete each other's words. Even so, they are starting to take different routes. Hazel has become a symbol of perseverance because of her fierce independence and health issues, which have made her narrative special. Sharp and daring, Riley frequently keeps everyone on their toes. Sensitive but resilient, Parker has struggled with shyness and fear in the past but has grown braver every year. Then there's Blake, a teenager learning how to strike a balance between being an individual and being the big sister, rather than the young child who used to feel overwhelmed by the unexpected arrival of 5 sisters. A new era of parenting. This parenting stage also seems different to Adam and Danielle. The days of scheduling naps, lining up bottles, and depending on rigid schedules only to stay alive. These days, the difficulties center on school assignments, extracurricular activities, negotiating friendships, and starting discussions about one's identity and self-worth. 6 distinct sets of needs, feelings, and questions must be addressed while raising 6 daughters at once, and frequently all at once. Adam has frequently discussed the strain he faces to strike a balance between his responsibilities as a present parent, protector, and provider. Danielle continues to grow personally while juggling parenthood with her own career endeavors. To demonstrate the practical application of faith and resilience. In addition to the typical difficulties of parenting, parents must deal with the added pressure of performing at times 6 in front of fans who have been following them about for years. The new routine and the new home. The family's transfer to a new house over the past year has been one of the most significant developments. Though it had also become more and more claustrophobic, their former home had been full with memories, first steps, birthday celebrations, and late-night conversations. 6. Growing girls had access to additional bedrooms, solitude, and breathing room. There is more to the new house than just a roof and walls. For the girls, it represents a change. They can create new memories on this blank canvas. Having a place that seems like her own during these crucial adolescent years is comforting for Blake. The Quint enjoys picking out the colors and decor for their rooms and taking pride in their particular areas. For Danielle and Adam, it's the tranquility of being aware that they have allowed their kids to thrive. New procedures have been established since the shift. Mornings at school appear different. There are many of new things to do in the evenings, and weekends are usually spent discovering their new surroundings. It hasn't always been simple to adjust. After all, kids are just as affected by change as adults are. However, the Busbys have gradually taken up residence, their laughter resonating through the newly constructed walls as they establish a cadence that is exclusive to this phase of life. Lessons about unity. During each shift and season, togetherness has always been at the heart of the Busby tale. Adam and Danielle have set the example for the idea that family is worth every sacrifice, no matter how hectic, noisy, or difficult things get. This has been largely due to their religion, which has given them courage when fatigue or fear threaten to overcome them. The girls have always had company because they grew up in such a big household. In ways that only siblings can, they have learned to support, negotiate, and share. Meanwhile, they've discovered what it means to stand out in a crowd as unique individuals. They will carry these teachings of togetherness and individuality with them throughout their lives. In the future, the difficulties will change once more as the quintuplets keep expanding. New questions, insecurities, and milestones will accompany the approaching adolescence. Adam and Danielle are aware that they will face various challenges in the years to come. However, they are also aware of their daughter's strength, competence, and affection. For followers who are following their adventure, this chapter serves as a reminder of how fast time flies. The infants who once required holding are now able to express their aspirations. The young girls who used to dress alike are now adults with their own interests, emotions, and opinions. And now, the parents who used to get by on little sleep are juggling the difficult task of guiding their girls into the future. Final thoughts. It is more than just a title. Growing Up Busby, the quintuplets enter a new chapter. It's a actuality. From one season to the next, the Busby family's life is changing. The story is far from ended, as evidenced by the 6 distinct daughters' development, the migration to a new home, and the changes in everyday life and education. It's really just getting started. Adam and Danielle are aware that the journey isn't about perfection as they put their girls to bed every night. It has to do with presence. It's about reminding their girls that love is the most important thing by being there every day, despite the chaos and the peace. The basis of everything. And while everyone else looks on, the Busses will continue to live their story with integrity, love, and a faith that keeps them going. In 2025, the Busby family has 6 growing daughters. One of America's most distinctive families has long been the Busby family. Not just because their quintuplets are rare, but also because they have made the decision to live an honest life with love, faith, and fortitude at its core. The first all-female quintuplets were welcomed in the U.S. in 2015 by Adam and Danielle Busby. Their lives were irrevocably altered after that. Much of their early voyage was recorded by cameras. But the human story was what really held people's attention. A family of regular folks dealing with exceptional situations. Now that 2025 has arrived, the Busses are in a new era. Their daughters have grown up from being little toddlers dressed alike. They are self-reliant, inquisitive, and rapidly developing girls with their own thoughts, abilities, and difficulties. Blake, their oldest daughter, is a teenager who has to develop her own identity. Ava, Olivia, Hazel, Riley, and Parker, the quintuplets, are bravely entering middle childhood, a time of transition, growth, and exploration. This year, the Busbys are learning how to raise 6 distinct daughters in a world that is getting faster by the day. A family that developed right in front of us. It's difficult to comprehend the extent of the Busses' progress when looking back. Admirers recall the times when meals appeared more like a meticulously planned event than a family meal, and when the quintuplets were arranged in high chairs. They recall seeing Adam and Danielle surviving on coffee and willpower, as well as the piles of diapers and the never-ending loads of laundry. Even though they were exhausting, those years were also full with some of the most precious memories. First words, first steps, and the bond of sisters who would never know what life would be like apart. However, time doesn't pause for anybody. The obstacles gradually changed from restless nights to school mornings as the quintuplets grew and their personalities developed. Managing sibling rivalry, classroom projects, and baby-proofing the house are all examples. As of 2025, the Busby family is in a position where each child has a unique voice, set of abilities, and set of needs. 6 adventures. 6 daughters. The uniqueness of every child has always been the Busby story's greatest charm. Despite having the same birthday and a close bond, the Quint, they are not interchangeable. One of the identical twins, Ava, has a tender, caring personality that frequently comes through in the way she treats her sisters. Her twin, Olivia, is full of comedy and vitality and never fails to make the family laugh. Hazel, who bravely overcame health issues, demonstrates resilience well beyond her years, serving as a reminder to everyone that strength may take many forms. Riley stands out due to her daring and adventurous nature. She is frequently willing to try things that others are afraid to try. Parker, delicate but steady. Gaining self-assurance is demonstrating to everyone that silent power may be just as potent. Then there is the oldest sister, Blake, the trailblazer, who plays a role that is unmatched. She had a distinct viewpoint because she had been the only kid for 4 years before to the Quint's arrival, but she was unprepared for the stress that came with suddenly being the big sister to 5. She must now manage freedom, responsibility, and the need to define herself as she moves through her adolescent years. 2025 Parenting. Parenting has always needed strategy, comedy, and faith for Adam and Danielle. The difficulties in 2025 will be helping 6 daughters grow into compassionate, self-assured young women rather than getting through restless nights. The afternoons are filled with sports activities and dance lessons, school projects that call for late-night glue and poster boards, and the ongoing juggling of 6 distinct schedules that occasionally conflict and overlap. Danielle has frequently stated that raising daughters is her aim. They are anchored and self-sufficient. This entails teaching kids to appreciate family, kindness, and thankfulness in addition to supporting them in pursuing their passions. Adam, too, has talked candidly about the value of being present, putting down the phone, taking a break from work, and being there for all of life's events, no matter how minor. Together, they are still figuring out the relocation, what it means now, and the frequently hectic but always gratifying world of raising 6 kids. Moving into a new house last summer has set the tone for this year. In order to accept a facility that could better suit their present requirements, Busses left behind a home full of memories. The girls have enjoyed the excitement of new surroundings, larger bedrooms, and greater flexibility to express themselves and decorate. Knowing that their daughters have room to develop emotionally and physically has given Adam and Danielle peace of mind. The new house is significant as well as larger. It stands for development, progress, and the bravery to accept change even when it's challenging. Now, every area of the house narrates a tale of change. Laughter filling once silent walls, family dinners around a new table, boxes unloaded into new shelves. A religiously based household. The Busses have always been honest about their reliance on their faith, which they maintain throughout it all. It's not easy to raise 6 daughters in the spotlight. There are detractors, difficulties, and tired moments. However, Adam and Danielle frequently remind both themselves and their supporters that they are not traveling this path by myself. They are thankful for the blessings in front of them and have the fortitude to confront uncertainty because of their faith. Being raised in a faith-based household means that the girls will learn the value of empathy, fortitude, and optimism from a young age. These are lessons that will serve kids well throughout life, not just childhood. What will happen to the Busbys next? The Busbys are looking forward to 2025 with both joy and realism. They are aware that puberty will bring new difficulties, particularly when living with 6 girls. Exams, school dances, changing friendships, and the unavoidable highs and lows of growing up are all part of the experience. However, they are also aware of their girls' readiness. Each girl has demonstrated courage, uniqueness, and resolve in her own unique way. The future will always be about balance for Adam and Danielle. Striking a balance between work and home, between individualism and unity, and between the responsibilities of parenthood and the desire to strengthen their own marriage. However, they have repeatedly shown that they are capable of handling the challenge. Final thoughts. The Busby family in 2025. There's more to life with 6 developing daughters than just a title. It's the fact that a family must embrace the changes that come with time while still growing as a unit. The Busbys have demonstrated that love and resiliency are the cornerstones of family life, from diapers and bottles to school projects and adolescent milestones. Their tale serves as a reminder to all of us that existence, not perfection, is what matters most in life. It's about being present. Despite the craziness, with thankfulness, love, and patience. And the Busbys will continue to demonstrate that love is the foundation of everything, and that home is wherever family is as their daughters grow.